Good morning, everybody. This is Deacon Kyle Teets. Today, in the first reading and in the Psalm, we hear about shepherds. So let's see what the Scripture has to say about them. In Jeremiah, we hear, "I will appoint over you shepherds after my own heart, who will shepherd you wisely and prudently." And in the Psalm, "He who scattered Israel now gathers them together. He guards them as a shepherd his flock." So we have this idea of a shepherd as one who gathers together and sustains. So we'll focus a little bit on the idea of gathering together. And the saint for today is the memorial of Saint Charbel. So we'll look at his life. Now, Saint Charbel was born in Lebanon, and he lived during the 19th century. And he was born to a rather simple family, and he grew up as a shepherd, taking care of his flock for his family. And often he would take his flock to a nearby grotto and pray before an icon of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Later in his life, Saint Charbel became a monk, and at the end of his life, Saint Charbel became a hermit, living in a secluded area in the desert for 23 years. During that time, he led a life of prayer and simplicity and asceticism. And that was pretty much his life. We don't have much more from his life, writings or anything. But it was after his death that many people sought out his intercession. His body was incorrupt for many years, meaning it did not decompose. And many people saw miraculous lights after he had died. And many people had miraculous healings after praying to him. So he continues to be a great intercessor today. Thousands of people have reported healings, miracles attributed to Saint Charbel and his intercession. It's a very interesting figure, a very interesting saint for us. And I think his life of shepherding, of gathering together, really actually begins with his life, but takes shape after his death. And perhaps there's two ways that he draws people together. First, Saint Charbel was a priest of the Maronite rite. And the Maronite is one of the Eastern churches within the Catholic Church. So we have the Western Roman Rite, which we're all part of, and there's about 23 different Eastern churches, all part of the Catholic Church. So he was an Eastern saint, but is recognized by the universal Catholic Church. So he has this way of kind of drawing together all of these churches that are part of the Catholic Church, but drawing them more tightly together as well. Also, Saint Charbel draws together both Christians and Muslims. Very interesting that, especially in the Holy Land in Lebanon, both Muslims and Christians seek out the intercession of Saint Charbel. And many Muslim shopkeepers in the Holy Land have images of Saint Charbel, and many Muslims have prayed and received healing from him. It's a very interesting figure that can draw together even people of different religions, drawing people together to the Lord. So a very interesting figure. And we see that in Saint Charbel's life, it wasn't a life that was flashy, perhaps wasn't a very charismatic figure, but he led a life of simplicity, and especially in the last years as a hermit. So for our reflection today, how are we called to be shepherds to draw people together? I think we can imitate the life of Saint Charbel in leading a life of humility, of prayer, simplicity, and asceticism. That is where the heart of a shepherd is cultivated. Life might not be all flashy. We might not see a lot of fruit from our efforts in life. But Saint Charbel is our example that even after death, the power of intercession and prayer can continue on. We see how we are called to cultivate a life of simplicity. And ultimately, God desires that we join him in the hermitage of our hearts. God bless.